Hello, it's Robert with EKB Home or Edmond Kitchen and Bath. I want to talk to you about 10 questions to ask a general contractor or an architect firm or design build company before embarking on a remodel. Now, some of these are going to apply to new construction as well, so look at the ones that might fit your scenario and use those questions accordingly. So let's get started. First question to ask is, who's going to design the room, the space, and select all the products? In a normal situation, if you hire a general contractor, a guy in a truck, he's going to ask you to fulfill all those design details. He may take a photograph and go do some shopping, but in most cases, they want you to pick all the products, have it at the house before they get started. Go pick your tiles, go pick your hardware, your light fixtures, so forth. In a bathroom, there's about 35 to 40 different items. In a kitchen, there can be as many as 70 decisions to make. So who's going to decide all that? With us, with EKB Home, we have Brenda and Megan, licensed and registered with the state as interior designers, which that license is a competency-based test. It's a 3-day exam that you have to qualify to sit for. It's not just a registration like the roofers or the builder's license where they just take your name and number. It is a real test. It is a real license. It's competency-based, similar to getting your taxes done by a CPA. It's somebody that knows what they're doing, the impacts of the humans that live within the space whenever they make a design decision. So we do a lot of floor planning. We do a lot of reimagining of spaces and repositioning of things. And so Brenda and Megan look at that very seriously. And that's just before we even select materials. So they look at the function of the space, how are you going to use it, how your family's going to interact, and then they look at the wow factor and the surfaces and all the selections that go in. So with us, we decide everything with you. We're going to pick every little detail down to the color of the switch plates and even the shape of the switch plates. We don't use those cheap two-prong little outlets, duplex outlets or toggle switches. We like the Decora because they're just a cleaner, simpler, more elegant shape of an outlet and a switch. And we walk through all those decisions with you. So everything is selected by us and approved before we start swinging hammers. So, and of course, all of it is with you. We're going to run everything by you, every single decision. There's no surprises. Number 2, project management and subcontractors. Who's going to meet the electricians and the plumbers the day they show up and show them what you want done? In general contracting, most cases, they're going to call you up on Tuesday and say, hey, plumber's coming tomorrow. Make sure you got your valve. And so then it's up to you to make sure you have your shower valve, make sure it's inspected, make sure it's going to work properly, and you've got everything, all the parts and pieces there. And then the plumber's going to ring the bell and say, Mrs. Smith, where do you want the shower valve? How high do you want the shower head? Electricians are going to come in and say, do you want us to do what we normally do, which is illuminate the walkways and put the can lights in the walkways? With us, we think through all these details well in advance of these guys showing up. Brenda and Megan are construction experts. They're going to go in and actually specify what size wire, what size breaker, what type of plug for every appliance in the space in a kitchen. They're going to put the can lights exactly down to the 16th of an inch where we want them, which in our remodel projects or design projects for new construction, we put the can lights over the work surface, not in the walkways. You don't work in the walkways. So we want them where you're going to work so you don't wind up with shadows, from the back of your head hitting that countertop. And if you look at our pictures, you'll notice not only do Brenda and Megan put those can lights over the countertop, they also illuminate them so that they fall dead center on doors, either doors or a pair of doors. So they want to illuminate that cabinetry in a beautiful fashion. So we decide all those things, and then the day that the plumber or electrician shows up, Scott, our foreman, project manager, is going to be there with them to make sure that they understand the plan. We've already got our book on site, so that Scott will walk them through all the design decisions, verify that all the can lights are placed properly, all the wiring's placed properly. Tile guys, whenever they do their thing, everything is executed to the perfection of the design plan. So, and we watch them do their work, and we make sure it's done the way that we want. So we handle all that for you. Most of our clients aren't home when we're there. So you can go to work, you can go on vacation, whatever it is you're going to do, and we've got it. We'll take care of it and manage everything. Number 3, what kind of details do you get before the remodel starts? What kind of pictures do you get? Do you get any renders? Do you get any drawings? Are they just pencil sketches? Which is fine. Anything is better than nothing. We see a lot of confusion and drama that can happen with contractors that don't do this. I had a customer once ask me, or actually it was a contractor asked me, how often do customers ask you for drawings? And I told him, well, we look at it just the opposite. We're going to provide a drawing on every project. We're going to do elevation views of the face of every wall. We're going to do plan views looking down from above. So we've got everything dimensioned out. And in addition, we're going to do full-on high-def 3D color renders. We do this because it eliminates the anxiety that most homeowners have about a remodel. You know exactly what you're getting before we start. We can also take these software packages that we use. We've got a new ICF home, very high-end modern home that we're designing, and we're walking the builder through all the design details on. And we actually brought his framer in, and we can split these walls open on our computer screen and show him, here's how we want this thing framed. So Brenda and Megan will create design details, and then we can illustrate it to the build team how we want it done. That way there's no questions, everybody knows what we're building, and you know what you're getting ahead of time. So there's a lot less drama, a lot less frustration with that sort of scenario whenever we do that. Number 4, preparation of the home and protection. How are they going to protect the house? We had a case, a lady called me once here in Edmond and had me come out and take a look at her project to see if this was right. She had hired a tile guy that does swimming pool tiles to rebuild her master shower. Now, he may have been the world's greatest craftsman in terms of tile cutting and setting and placing, but he didn't know a thing about working inside a home. He's used to working outside. He was using an angle grinder, which is dry, not a wet saw, just an angle grinder with a diamond blade to cut the tiles, and he was cutting them in her master bedroom. There was at least a 1/4 inch of dust on her nightstands beside her bed. No plastic on anything. So I told her, this is wrong. You need to, get this remedied. So she ended up firing the guy who hired us. We got in and cleaned it all up. When we prep a room, we know that the master bedroom is usually in the back corner of the house. Now, if there's a door, we're going to use that. Not everybody has a door in their bedroom, but if there is, we're going to use it. And where do we put the dumpster? It's out on the driveway at the front end, the opposite corner of the house. So we're going to protect the entire walk space. We will go in and we'll hang plastic. We've got zip wall poles, so we can put plastic barriers. We can make a tunnel, make it look like ET lives there, basically. We've got air scrubbers with big 3-foot long HEPA filters that scrub the air continuously, even after we're gone. It's got an auto off timer. We've got tube fans, so if we're doing something like spraying that day, spraying paint, we can evacuate all that vapor and those fumes out of the house. So we make it as clean as possible. Now, you'll still get some dust. We'll throw plastic over your couch, for example, and it's a static clean plastic that we buy that holds that dust on as best as possible. But when you roll that up real delicately and gently, you're still going to resuspend some of the dust. It's going to get in the air a little bit and get on things. So one of the best things you can do, look at the things that are hard to clean, like silk plants, intricate paintings, framework, light fixtures, that sort of thing. If it's hard to clean, get it out of the space. Wrap it in plastic, put it in the farthest room of the house, in the closet, put towels under the door. If you're able to, shut the air conditioner off in that room, the vent. Anything that's hard to clean, keep it from needing to be cleaned, and that'll save you a lot of grief. One other thing that we take a lot of time and attention to detail with are floors, because again, we're walking through the house. When the guys are demoing a bathroom and they're tearing out all this tile, they're going to get little crumbs of tile on their bottom of their tennis shoes, and as they're walking through the house, it's going to be grinding into your floors. So if you've got hardwood floors or tile floors, high gloss marble, anything like that, we're going to lay down brand new disposable drop cloths as a cushion. We're going to lay those down on top of that floor, and then on top of that, we're going to put hard sheets of masonite. We've got 30, 40 sheets of masonite at our shop, and we'll bring them out and we'll put them down on that floor. And we tape the masonite to itself. We don't tape it to your floor. This keeps a hard surface that our guys can walk back and forth on for several days with crumbs on their feet without damaging your floors. And that system works out really well for us. Now, all of that does cost more. So you got to consider, how much do you want to spend on a remodel project in terms of protecting the rest of the house as well. So, number 5, reputation and reviews. I don't know if you know this or not, but Google does not police reviews. It's very difficult to get Google involved in a review. They want the free market to take over, at least in that aspect. I get 2 to 3 emails a month from companies that will sell me positive reviews. I can buy 10 5-star reviews for $100. Likewise, I get emails from people that will take off negative reviews. They'll fight Google on a negative review. And they've got a system, I don't know how it works, not interested, but they've got a system that'll take off a negative review. So when you're looking at reviews, look at 2 things. First off, look at the positive reviews and what are they saying? Is there meat and potatoes in there, or is it just a sentence that says, these guys are great, I'd hire them again? If it's just 1 or 2 sentences, in most cases, that's a bought and paid for review, especially when you see a whole bunch of them and they're all just 1 or 2 sentences. That's kind of a red flag. Most of the times that's a company that's buying those reviews. When you look at ours, go to our Houzz page, houzz.com, or go to bottom of our website. There's a letter H down there. Click on that, it takes you to our Houzz page, and read some of those reviews. Those are meat and potatoes. You'll see things on there where people say, Brenda and Megan created design concepts that my builder hadn't even thought of. I am so grateful they did it. The process was so smooth and fluid and effortless. But instead of 1 or 2 sentences, you'll see 2 or 3 paragraphs. That's meat and potatoes. So always look for the depth and the detail that people put into those reviews. The second part of the reviews are the negative reviews. Do they have any negative reviews? Did they address them properly? Did the company learn from their mistakes? Did they address the customer, or did they say something like, I don't know who this is? And that could happen, but just look at it and see. What does your gut tell you about those negative reviews when you see all of that? Number 6, experience with scope of work. What kind of work are you having done, and how much experience does this company have? For example, opening a wall. That's a very serious matter when you start opening a wall, especially in a 2-story house with a load-bearing wall. Did they get a structural engineer involved? Do they need one? Do they use steel versus wood? Are they changing the size of the footers? That's a very serious matter. We move walls in almost every one of our jobs. Not every one. Bathrooms specifically, not too many walls in there other than the wall at the shower. But in kitchens, it's very common that we're opening up walls. So we're very comfortable doing that. So the scope of work, tile. We see a lot of projects where somebody does tile that has no business doing tile. We've rescued at least 2 this year. This is 2021. We're not even halfway through the year, and we've already had 2 projects where people called us and said, can you come fix what this guy did? And so we see that quite often, where a tile guy gets in and starts setting tile, because it's easy, right? Anybody can do it. And it's just a disaster. Some of them leave these sharp edges sticking out. They'll slice you open if you try to wipe it off there or clean off that tile. It's very unfortunate when we see that sort of thing. It gives everybody a bad name. So ask, how much experience do they have? Now, this also applies, especially in new construction. How much experience do the teams have working together? You want a cohesive team that has experience with each other. For example, if you've got a designer, you've got an architect that's creating something, but then you got a builder that does spec homes all day long and he's not used to doing custom, they're going to have some conflict on there. In fact, that's where we see most problems with new construction, is when a spec home builder tries to build custom and they're not used to having to answer to those questions that custom homes require. With us on the remodel side and even on the new construction side, we're a design build company, so we design it and we build it in-house. Everybody works together. So we're very comfortable knowing our skills and capabilities and what level of execution we can present. And our designers are very comfortable telling us something new because they know we're going to figure it out. We're going to do it right. So how much experience do they have? Very important question to ask. Number 7, daily and weekly schedule. How often will they be at your house? When will they be at their house? I had a lady once hire us, and she said that she had her wood floor done by a guy that told her it was going to take 21 days to do that wood floor throughout her house. And she says he showed up, she started Xing it off on the calendar. It took him exactly 21 days, spread out over 3 months. So how many gaps are they going to put in there? When they start a job, there is no reason to pull off unless they are just underbidding and they've got to go someplace else and make more money or what have you. So if they're stretched too thin and they overpromise and underdeliver, find out those details up front. You got to ask, how many gaps should I anticipate? Don't ask how long this project will take in number of days. Ask them in number of weeks on the calendar. If you're going to start January 1st, when are you going to be done? We see a lot of jobs that go on 6, 8, 9 months, and they're not even halfway through yet. In fact, this one bathroom that we just rescued, they had been there, I think, 9 months, and they hadn't even painted wood yet in that project. So obviously starting and stopping can delay a project, cause a lot of frustration. Your house is torn apart. We do not do that. We do not pull off a job unless there is nothing to do, which typically happens about the granite countertop or countertop, quartz, granite, whatever. Our countertop guys will not fabricate until the cabinetry is done, which is right. The right thing to do. And then it takes them about 2 weeks before they come back and install the countertops. So during that time, sometimes we're going to run out of things to do. But 2 things are happening. Before we install our cabinets, we've already scheduled with our countertop guy for templating because we know how long it's going to take to set our cabinets. And so we've already got him on the books. So we're not going to have to wait for him for weeks or days, whatever. to come in and template. And then number two, we're going to tell you everything that's happening. So you won't just go, hey, where are the guys today? We're going to tell you well in advance, hey, we're going to have a little bit of a break. We're waiting for our countertops. They're up next. So as soon as they get there, we'll be back and we'll finish this thing. So we'll always tell you if there's going to be a break in the action. So no surprises there. Number 8, what quality of products will be used? This one, a lot of people think an expensive remodel means gold-plated fixtures, gold-plated toilets. That's not what we do. When you look at shopping for the items that go into your home, whether it's new construction or remodel, there's good, better, best on everything out there. We are big advocates in building science. We like to control the 4 elements that can damage your home. Water is the biggest. Air infiltration is the one that really bugs me when you talk about can lights. The can lights, if your home was built from more than before about 3 years ago, you have the can lights in your attic that is that aluminum fixture that goes up into the attic. That fixture costs the builder $7. For $2 extra, they can get one that's airtight, that doesn't leak your energy up into your attic 24 hours a day. $2. I've been in hundreds of homes in central Oklahoma, and I have yet to find an airtight can fixture. We used them exclusively in every job we ever did until the wafer lights came out. The wafer lights are thinner than the sheetrock, and they've got a foam gasket, so they seal off that hole. So we love those wafer lights. The reason this is important, if you spend money heating or cooling your house, you're making an investment in your comfort. And I believe it's your right to hold on to that investment for as long as possible. Keep that energy in the room as much as possible rather than going up into your attic. And that's just can lights. Same thing applies to windows. Do you buy double pane, triple pane? What kind of windows do you get? Do you get some that seal better when the air is blowing out versus when the air is blowing in? What type of cabinets? Are you buying a builder's grade cabinet? Do you do it like Chip and Joanna where you bring in unfinished and spray them on site? That's how the builders do it. There's a reason they do it that way. It keeps the cost down. With our cabinets, as you can see, just a couple of doors behind me back here, everything is finished before it comes on site. They are high-end furniture grade cabinets. It has the best finish on it possible. They're not gold-plated. They're just better quality. I liken it to cars. Toyota and Lexus both do the same thing. They get you from point A to point B at a given speed. Lexus costs more, but it's built by the same people, but it's got finer appointments, better fit, better finishes, different materials. It puts a bigger smile on your face. That's the quality of the ingredients that go into your remodel or into your new construction. What type of quality are they? There's a term, builder's grade. You've probably used it. Why do they say it? Because it's builder's grade. So always ask, what level of quality am I interested in? What am I going to get? Especially if you're an engineer or an analytical person. Because again, you got to look at these things for a long time after they're done, and you don't want to spend money replacing something that you just put in. So moving on. Number 9, how complete is their estimate? We see a lot of bids that are partials. We did a bathroom project for a lady once that she hired us, and as we're working on it, she brought out the bid that she showed us from a competitor. It was less than ours, significantly less, and I was looking at it with her, and I said, well, there's a lot of things missing on here because it was a complete gut and rebuild bathroom, master bath. They didn't have any drywall work. They didn't have any painting on there. They didn't seal the grout. There was a lot of things missing on this bid. It was a very loosely put together bid. They didn't even have products selected. And so how do you know what level of quality you're getting and how much the bid is going to be if they haven't picked the products yet? So that's one major red flag. When somebody says, I'm going to give you a bid for your project, but you haven't picked anything yet, what are they picking? So how complete is their bid? One thing to always ask when you're dealing with a contractor and he's giving you a price, what else do I need to do before I can move back in and use this space? Is there anything missing from this? What's included? What's not included? If you're doing a kitchen, for example, doing a new design on a kitchen and you've got an island and you want some pendant lights hanging, do they have the pendant lights and the electrician and the time to run the wire and switch for those pendant lights up there? Or did they just leave that off because you haven't selected it yet? With our projects, they are complete. We have every nut and bolt in these things whenever we do one, even if you haven't selected it. During the interview phase and during our design phase, Brenda and Megan are going to get to know you, your taste, your preferences, your likes, and they're going to allocate a certain dollar amount for those pendant lights as well as everything else in the room that hasn't been selected yet. We know what the electrician's going to charge us. We know how much it's going to cost to run the wires and switches. And so they're going to work with you to pick out where those switches go, what type of switch, what color switch, is it dimmer, is it control 4, electronic, home automated switch, what is it? And then the pendant lights, what are they? How much are they? If we allocate $500 for pendant lights and you pick one that's $6, we're going to charge you the difference. If you pick one that's $4, we're going to give you $100 back. But the key is that dollar amount is in there even if the product isn't selected yet. So how complete is their estimate is very critical to know. We used to work as a subcontractor for some designers early on projects, and we would go in and do just pieces of a project, not the whole thing. And it always amazed me. I would see these designers, somebody would say, how much is that bathroom fixture? And the designer would say, it's $300. And then they never would say, plus $250 for the plumber. So they were always shocked at the end of the job that it cost a whole lot more than they were thinking. So you always got to ask, how complete is this estimate? What is not included in there? And then finally, number 10, the 10th thing to think about before you embark on a project, whether it's a remodel or new construction, applies to you personally. Look at your experience or that of your family or friends, positive and negative, and ask these contractors and designers and architects these questions that are personal to you. What worked well in the past? What have you heard horror stories about? And bring them up. The best time to handle a conflict is before the conflict happens. Conflict resolution starts well in advance when there's an even playing field and everybody's calm, cool, and collect. So address those topics early. If this happens, Mr. Contractor, what's your resolution for it? How are you going to handle it if I don't like what you've done? What happens if you tell me they're coming on Tuesday and then they don't show up for 3 weeks? How are we going to address these issues? Anything that's personal to you that you've had an experience with, bring it up before you hire them. It's never easier than then. And that's why contracts exist, so that you can put it all on paper. What are we going to do to avoid these things? How's this going to happen? That way there's an agreement on everybody's part of what's going to happen and for how much and how long. So number 10 is up to you, basically. So that's my list of 10 things to consider before new construction or remodeling. Please give us a call with any questions about your project. We enjoy talking to people about the jobs. The process that we employ is very simple, very painless. We're very approachable. Brenda and Megan are always available to talk as well. So give us a call. You'll find a number on our website. And then if you are embarking on a project, please look at the other videos and articles that we've put together under the remodel tab, the resources tab on our website. There's a lot of good information in there based on our over 20 years in business now. So let me know what kind of questions you have, and thank you for watching our video.